The National Weather Service said it was adequately staffed before the Texas floods, and warning messages were sent out to residents. Now, this news comes at a time when there are growing questions about the agency's staffing as a whole.
Federal cuts have led to widespread reductions at the agency over the past few months. News 4's Drew Wilder spoke with the labor union that represents employees about its concerns.
Tonight, the death toll has climbed to at least 90 people in central Texas as they brace for even more rain, days after flash floods devastated a flood-prone region. In the hours leading up to the deadly flooding, the National Weather Service issued warnings and alerts, but there are questions of whether those alerts could have reached the most vulnerable and whether staffing cuts and federal budget cuts affected the ability to potentially save more lives.
The staffing that we had in both San Angelo and San Antonio offices, we had adequate amount of staff to get out the alerts and warnings to the public. The flood warning was issued 12 hours in advance of the event.
Between buyouts and cuts, NWS lost about 600 people between the start of Trump's second term and April 30th.
That has a dramatic impact to staffing requirements across the country, which has left many forecast offices critically understaffed.
Tom Fahey is the legislative director for the labor union that represents NWS employees across the country. Fahey says the cuts have left NWS offices in Central Texas without critical positions that play a role in disaster preparedness and emergency response.
At the beginning of the administration, again, looking to trim the fat off the federal budget, looked at the budgets for the National Weather Service and deleted or suspended, rather, a better word, they suspended the funding for the warning coordination meteorologist.
This position works with local emergency management officials doing outreach, emergency response planning, and training exercises. But where Fahey says NWS has been hit the hardest is in the rank and file, the meteorologists who predict storms and their severity and then offer the public even more information. Despite what the union says, President Trump says his cuts did not leave critical vacancies at NWS.
They did. I'll tell you, if you look at that, what a situation that all is, and that was really the Biden setup. That was not our setup, but I wouldn't blame Biden for it either. I would just say this is a 100-year catastrophe, and it's just so horrible to watch.
NWS says it issued alerts and warnings starting 12 hours before the event. But one of the counties most devastated by this flood does not have weather sirens. And even cell phone service and weather radio can be limited in these areas, especially during severe weather. But one thing is clear. The federal agency, whose employees have dedicated their lives to saving others, are understaffed and underfunded with even more rain on the way. Drew Wilder, News 4.